Kafeel Jafri, a theatre artist who's been in the scene for almost 5 years now, in Bengaluru of course, and Lucknow as well, is now drawing inspiration from a yesteryear legend, Saadat Manto. He was known to be a man ahead of his times, of course, through his plays and his outspoken poems and a lot of other literary works. So, Kafeel, how has your journey been so far?
I always wanted to act, but then somebody suggested that the ideal way to go about it is to model first, be a model and then you can act. So I tried that and it was very boring. So I, in the meantime, I got introduced to theatre people, especially Abhishek Majumdar of Indian Ensemble. And after a point of time, I realized that, it's essential to create work as well. And that's when I reconnected with Saadat Manto's work. Of late, I did a performance again with TFA, a reading of Manto. So what happened was that I thought of an idea that why not try to stage the existing literature, both poetry and prose, as it is on stage. And with that, I call that movement or initiative Literature Alive. When I read Manto, what I found, very different from all the other writers about him was that he doesn't censor as per the audience likes or dislikes. So a lot of times, as a process of writing, many writers do this, that while putting their thoughts in words, they think about whether the audience is gonna like it or not like it, whether they will get angry or not. He didn't do anything like that. He simply wrote it, and it was just the way he felt. So, and when you read these things, they sort of talk out to you. And I like to use this phrase that they demand to be read out loud to other people, So that was the basically idea behind it. I'll give you one very simple example. There's a line in the short story called Mausam Ki Shararat, and in that story there's a line which says something like this, that वो बहुत देर तक मुझे देखती रही, फिर मेरे सामने से गुजर कर ऐसे चली गई जैसे कभी कभी मेरा अपना ख्याल मेरे जहन से कंधा रगड़ कर चला जाता है. So when you think about that, oh, and everybody, even somebody who likes to write or think, can relate to this. Sometimes you get a really good thought and suddenly it's out of your mind. You lose grip on that. So these things were something that appealed me to do something about Manto.
So he wrote these stories several decades ago. And how do you think those issues, I mean, in every story he tried to bring out an issue or some problem that he was facing or the society was facing as a whole. How do you think that stands relevant right now?
It stands relevant in the same way that Shakespeare does and Plato does or Aristotle does. So the reason being and the way being that although we have improved a lot in terms of technology, in terms of industry, but in terms of human relationships, we are still the same, if not worsened. We are still the same. When he is talking about fanaticism, like he has written a lot of sketches on partition. I'll give you one example. Har taraf afra tafri machi thi. It was chaos everywhere. And there was this Pathan who was standing at a place and he was scrutinizing people who were passing by. So a couple passes by from there and he stops them. This Pathan stops them and he asks them, "Oh, तुम्हारा नाम क्या है? तुम हिंदू है कि मुसलमान?" कि मुसलमान. अच्छा, तुम्हारा रसूल कौन है? मोहम्मद खान. ठीक है, जाओ. So this was so without doing much, without writing much, he expresses that the people who had taken an authority on their own religion per se didn't know about their own religion. So, and if you look around these days, it's almost the same.
talking about religion and things like that, and we were talking about also how the issues that Manto spoke about in like decades ago is still relevant right now. So do you think that, the free thinkers in our society face a threat, and why do you think people are so, like, these issues are happening right in front of us? Like you said, it's coming out on social media now and people are more aware about it, but still a lot of us are closed towards progression, and a lot of free thinkers, have a threat every time they voice out their opinion. Why do you think that is happening?
So I'll give it another perspective. So in management, we have this, especially in corporate world, we have this thing called change management. Okay. So change management is a very relevant issue which corporates face, because if they have to change technology or process or technology, they face issues from people, right? Because people generally resist change, right? So even if, transfer that from corporate world to the society, to social world, you will realize that there are so many norms that are, conditioned in people, that coming out of it, even after realizing that they are worthless, they are useless and they are waste, they divide people, even after realizing that, people resist that change. I'm not talking of any particular religion or faith. It is about people. So religion and faith doesn't matter there. To give you an example about caste system in India. So we say that it don't exist anymore, but still, it does. And you see people getting beaten up for entering the wrong temple or the wrong mosque even. So apparently Islam doesn't have caste and all, but even for the people who, the lower caste people who convert into Islam, they are treated differently than the, the mainstream or the upper caste Muslims. So caste is something, again, which people realize that it's bad, but since it has been in generations and people are conditioned into it, they are against changing it, So and that becomes very relevant if you talk about any marriages. So when matches happen, about that, there's huge trouble takes place. So to give you a example into Islamic world, so there are Sayyids who are supposed to be the descendants of Prophet himself, and then there are other people. So there is huge, disagreement between. So Sayyids will not get married into non-Sayyid and stuff like that. It's really, so people do realize that you are no different than any other person, but yeah, somehow you are racially superior. So these things do exist. Yeah.
We've been talking about all these problems that Manto has been bringing out, and also, how it's relevant right now. But where do you see the solution, and do you think that that's where he lacked as a person, where he put out the problems, of course, and in a very, brutal and non-censored way, like you said, for us to see. But where does the solution lie? Has he left that behind for us to answer, or is it because it's like a never-ending issue?
So this is the thing with, performing arts or creative artists, whether they are painters or writers or poets or musicians. Artists are someone who can point out, or as Manto used to say, that मैं तो समाज को आईना दिखा सकता हूँ. मैं ये सारी स्टोरी इसलिए लिखता हूँ ताकि समाज को आईना दिख सके. The society can see itself in the mirror. Now it's upon the collective conscience of the society to figure out whether they want to change or they want to continue. He did face a lot of criticism at that time, and he went into depression because of that. Because any artist, any creative artist, when he is putting up a work of art, if he starts getting backlash for it, it's devastating for him, and especially if somebody is doing good for the society. Yeah.
So talking about another issue that he spoke about, and Manto said, and I quote, "But love, whether in Multan or Siberia's icy tundra, whether in the winter or the summer, whether among the rich or the poor, whether among the beautiful or the ugly, whether among the crude or refined, love is always just love. there's no difference.
प्यार तो प्यार है, इसको किसी कोई नाम ना दो.
Yeah. So right now in today's society, we see a lot of issues again because of people using religion as a barrier, with love jihad and with the moral policing that's been happening in the state of Karnataka and around India as well. Why do you think that this religion is being used as a barrier for love also?
So I'll tell you one thing. There's a stand-up comedian called George Carlin. So there's a quote by him which so he said that the most important commandment should be keep thy religion to thyself. So that is the issue, that my faith is my faith because I find it working for me. Somebody else's faith is his or her faith because he finds it working for him or her. The problem begins when they start to impose it on others and try to say that this is what you are supposed to do, this is the only truth, and hence you should follow it, you must follow it. So that is the trouble which causes, that is the attitude that causes all these troubles even in love. So as I was talking about the caste system, so parents will decide through through family and through religion and through sub-religion and sub-caste and sub-sect and so on as to which is the right match for you, because they think that is the right list of criteria for you to have a partner. So that's how people are.
Where's the way forward now? So once you're done with portraying his plays and things like that, what's next?
So right now I am doing more shows of Manto Ki Kahaniyaan in Bengaluru, and I will try to take it to Lucknow and Mumbai as well, and other cities basically. And one thing through literature alive that I want to bring back is the form of storytelling based on literature, existing literature. So storytelling can be of anything, but of that rich literature that we already have in so many languages. For that matter, that has to be brought alive. So so along with Manto's repeat shows, I will also be doing Faz's poems, who was a revolutionary poet of his time. And if you see his poems, he had gone from love to revolution to he was also jailed because of his revolutionary poems. That performance I am doing this Saturday first time, and of course many repeat shows will also happen. And then going on to other literatures like Munshi Premchand, and I am also trying to learn Kannada now, and I have heard so much, and I have read the translated works by Kuvempu and Professor Anantamurthy. Someday, maybe by end of the year or early next year, I intend to and I want to present a Kannada story to Kannada audience. And like I have brought Urdu story from the other home Lucknow to my current home Bangalore, I want to take my Kannada story from the home called Bangalore to my home called Lucknow or other parts of India, because every language has its rich literature and I want to explore as much as possible. So yeah.
Well, all the best with that.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me here.
So that was Mr. Kafeel Jafri for you. And tell us when and where can we spot you next?
So so we are having a performance called Life and Works of Faz Ahmed Faz at Lahe Lahe Indranagar on 13th of January, which is a Saturday at 7:30. So that is the immediately next performance, and after that every weekend I am trying to perform Manto or Faz at some part of the city before taking it to other cities. So hope to see you there.
Kafeel Jafri, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure. Thank you.